All right, guys, how we doing?
Good.
Good.
Coach,
How you doing, Don?
It wasn't exactly sweater weather out there today, I can tell you that. But I think it's good for my waistline. I think, you know what I'm saying, maybe I'll drop a few pounds out there like that. So, but I'm doing good.
How do y'all
Okay.
manage the big boys during that situation, the linemen?
Well, we did take 2 water breaks today to try to force them to drink. We have a great training staff, obviously, that we got a lot of students that, intern here. So every station's got water there the entire time. I mean, there's more than they can drink. We're forcing them, you gotta drink more, you gotta drink more, you gotta drink more, because it's amazing how much body weight they're losing. So they weigh in, they weigh out. The trainers keep a really close eye on them. If they're down, then they get a call and they got to come over and, get some treatment, and we got to make sure they eat. But the problem is, early in the year, especially offensively, we're so new to each other. We feel like we got to practice. We need more reps. And at the same time, it's probably too hot to practice that much and not be careful. And so we did back off a little bit, which is very Coach Houston-like. But we were about as short. Joe will tell you that. It was about as short a Wednesday practice as we've ever had in the 7 years I've been with him. But it is a concern. Yeah, it's a concern. So
obviously you got improvements to make, but leaving Michigan with no sacks allowed, how big is that, obviously for Saturday, but moving forward from a confidence standpoint?
Well, I know that Mason and Alex's mothers were very pleased that they didn't have to do any medical treatment with that. I mean, they might have been a little concerned going into the game. We know, you're right. You find something to build on. And there were things. I mean, it probably doesn't look that way to the average person because there wasn't a lot of results. But obviously, it's a process. Coach Houston and our whole philosophy, I don't know if he ever talked to the team about winning the game. Not that we weren't trying to win the game, because we're absolutely trying to win the game. But it's just more about the process. It's very much the Belichick, the Nick Saban. They've won a few, a couple championships there. He's won a few, as well. So it's more about the process. I mean, we talk a lot about, hey, let's have a good meeting today. What does that mean? Pay attention, take good notes, ask some good questions, watch the tape, let's learn something. Let's correct something and don't make the same mistake again. Then it's like, literally, let's go have a good walkthrough. Everybody pay attention. This is what's getting ready to happen to you. Then let's have a good practice and then stack those things. So, we're looking at those things, and the team competed. They never backed off. We were probably at our best in the fourth quarter. I know they subbed a few guys. That's part of the game. No question about that. But we offensively, and I've said this, I guess, a couple of times, we had some stuff in the first quarter. I don't know that we could have beat them. I'm not going to go make that statement, and get them all riled up or whatever. But in the first quarter, we should have been winning the game. You know what I'm saying? We got the ball. We had the right play on the first play, and we didn't throw the pass. It was a pass. We ran it. Okay, that's probably not a good idea. Do it that way. And then on third down, we had the perfect matchup that we wanted. We're going to go to Shane Calhoun on their safety. They gave us exactly what we wanted. We'd run a freeze play. We knew that when we look, they don't look. They ain't going to change the play, and we underthrew it. Okay? But then we came back and punted them in the hole. What a great job by our punt team. And we stuffed them right there. We got, 30 yards field position. So that's what we wanted to do. And we had a situation where we could have thrown a couple balls out on the perimeter. We didn't do it. And then we got third down, and we got beat with a twist, and he got hit throwing it. And Jalen Johnson's open by about 8 yards. He's going away. He may score. If he don't score, he's down inside the 20. And, boy, we gave them 56 yards to go score, and they did it. So, that was a disappointing part. But we looked back and thought, wow, we were right there. All we got to do is just do what we could do, because it wasn't a twist where it shouldn't have been picked up. It was a bust.
Coach, the 2 quarterbacks, obviously, you're trying to get them reps,
yeah,
but you got to go win games too. So on game day, what is that balance like? You want to give them opportunity to get into a rhythm, but you got to win the game.
Yeah, what we've had to do is I've had to cut back Raheem. That's where the first cut has come. In that the third quarterback's pretty much got to just learn by osmosis. You know what I'm saying? He's got to do it in the meetings. He's got to study it. He's got to come in, and do all the things like he would normally do. But he's not going to get to actually practice that rep because there's not enough reps. You can't keep the rest of the guys out there, for 4 hours because you need 3 quarterbacks to get all these plays, one on the left, one on the right versus all the different defense. So the first thing I've had to do is cut him back. He's worked a little bit against our defense to stay sharp, done a great job there. That'll help him probably as much as anything else. So we're down to 2, and we talk every day, and we kind of go back and forth, I guess, a little bit. But what I've said time and time is right now I think we need both guys. I think we need both guys, and sometimes we may have to go to the bullpen, and we may just have to do whatever because it's a win business, and they're no different than the left guard. You know what I'm saying? When the tight end, everybody has to go earn what they get, and the quarterbacks are no different. And I think the players respect that. You know what I'm saying? That they have to go and earn that. And so right now, I've told each one of them, he's your best friend. You're his best friend. You need him. He needs you. Be a team player. It's all about the team. Pull for each other. You'll make each other better. Eventually, it will work itself out. And, it did not work itself out enough before the first game, and it hasn't worked itself out enough for the second game right now. But I'm not really concerned about that. Like I say, I haven't done it a lot, but we did win the Hawaii Bowl doing that. And you know what? That worked out. Chris Johnson helped us a little bit there too. So, we're looking for Raji and Javius and all them to become our Chris Johnson. That the quarterback's best friend's the run game. You know what I'm saying? And so they'll be better. They'll be more consistent when we can run it because we can run it. So it put a lot on them.
Had some drops on Saturday, which across college football, I saw quite a bit of that. But how do you address that? Is that just more work, more repetition, stuff like that?
That's another delicate thing in that, you can't get like, God, you got to catch that ball. You got to catch that ball. I remember I had a coach that used to tell me, you got to throw that where you can catch it. And I thought, well, I knew that part of it. I'm saying, can you tell me maybe how to do that a little bit better? But you don't want to tighten them up because we did. Our best players dropped the balls, but then everybody except Justin Hardy, I think, did that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Hardy ever dropped one. I really don't know, but everybody else I've ever had has dropped at least one. So, jokingly said, hey, you spent your one in the first game, now you got to go. But we did. We had 2 balls dropped that would have put us in scoring position, and so those were disappointing. Proud of the throw. That was kind of the typewriter effect that we suffered from when we protected well and he threw it well. We dropped a couple. When we didn't protect well, the guy was wide open. Now you assume he would have called it because that's the way we are. He was ready to throw it. He made the right read. He was stepping that way. So football is putting it all together. You know what I'm saying? You got to stack base hits. You're going to score any runs, okay? Or you better get the long home run. So we weren't able to do that, but it's coming. It's coming. The sun came up Sunday morning. I checked early. I wasn't sure. There was about 2 o'clock at one point. I wasn't sure it would be, but it always seems to come back around. And we've been in a worse situation than this right now. So it was pretty exciting that we had another game this week.
Coach, you're facing a former player with Trent Holler, a guy who spent a number of years in this system. Do you kind of take an urgency to switch some things out as far as terminology to kind of keep it fresh so he can't pick up on the sideline?
Joe, you're going to be good at this. You really are. You're a natural here. We've talked about that a lot. Trent Holler, love him, love his family. I was very heavily involved in his recruitment. We were James Madison, tried to get him. He came here, okay? Then I was the one that closed it out and went up there, in Pennsylvania. And we're sad that he's gone. He's still really good friends with a lot of players on the team. I remember last year when they beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame, I'd text back and forth with him. He was so happy, and his family. I was so happy for him. So yes, we know that he probably does know some of the terminology. Now, it's been a year and a half, so a lot of things have changed. But we have made very aware that, hey, he might remember, what bulldog means or something like that. So yeah, we got to switch that up a little bit. Now, well, I'm not going to say that about Trent. He's taken a few hits to the head. I was going to say, I'm not sure he remember. He went the wrong way a couple of times too. Yeah, no. Trent, we love you, buddy.
With Mason, it seemed like early in the game he just wasn't, throwing the ball with a conviction. We've seen it. Is that mental or just him not being confident? I don't know. I just blame myself in that. I must have emphasized, don't try to win the game yourself. When you're going into that kind of environment, first game, let's don't beat ourselves.
They remember what you say last. I think they remember what you emphasize a little bit, and he did. And I don't want to sit here and talk about him so much, but early, I thought it would relax him if we let him throw it down the field, because that's what he does really well. So the first play, he should have chunked 140 yards down the field, and he was trying to just, I don't want to mess up a little bit, I think too much. And the reason that we made the change was just for that reason, to say, hey, we're not putting you out there just to stand there and hand it off. You know, there are some RPO opportunities here that you're really, really good at. I thought we had the game plan set to fit what he did well. When he came back, then I thought he did that. I thought he was more relaxed, and he's kind of like, well, hell, they've already taken me out once. So, you know, once you've gotten that first scolding or whatever, you've gone through that, you're better at it the next time. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. You know, I got grounded, but the second time, it rolled off my back a little bit more. By the time I got grounded for the 20th time, you know what, they'd about given up on me probably. So I think that was part of it. You know what I'm saying? All right, just get you out, let you look at it. You know, luckily Alex came in and gave us a little bit of a lift. But it was time. I told him at halftime, Alex will go first, but you'll go right in the next series. And so it did happen to go that way. But I thought he finished well. So I think we got some momentum there. I think playing at home, I just think second time around, I think he was I think he felt the good from the team. I don't know what happened in the outside world, because we kind of, you know, made sure he disconnected to that. I hope he did. He seems like nothing's bothered him. But I know the team's rallied around him, and they rallied around Alex as well. And, you know, all that. That's what really matters.
Marshall had 7 sacks Saturday and had 5 against ECU 2 years ago. So how do you keep those QBs clean again this week?
Well, you know, we did a lot of protection, different deals. We kept some tight ends in chipping. We did some different things, 7-man pros. We max pro'd a little bit. We tried to get it out of our hand quickly. That's our game anyhow. I mean, we're an RPO team that likes to run the ball if you'll let us have a chance. So we'll continue to do that. But you know, the offensive line is starting to gel. It's still not there. We know that. It's a lot of 5 different fingers right now trying to become a fist. And Coach Mowers is doing a great job, but we will do okay there. I know they were disappointed that Michigan didn't get a sack. You know, that was a big deal to them, I guess. Sometimes pressures are actually worse for you than the actual sack is, because the interception was a pressure. I wish they'd have sacked him. You know, in hindsight, we could have punted. Our punter was on fire. That'd have been a lot better. As long as we kept, they would have. I think the pressure would have gotten on them, because when you're playing that game, we played that Charleston Southern. You're not winning enough. All of a sudden, you start pressing a little bit, and nobody plays their best, I don't think, when they're pressing like that. So we lost that opportunity to do that to them. If it had been 0-0, God, it could have been 0-0 at halftime, we would have been winning, I think. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know there's a lot of people who would have been like, well, I just wanted you to score 1,000. Well, yeah, we all want to do that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what high school they tried to play at, but they didn't score 1,000 either, I'm pretty sure.
Coach,
Might have been Conley. I remember Conley. Steve was there.
you mentioned 2 quarterbacks. How do you kind of take into account who's hot and who's not, and trying to bounce around while still keeping?
Well, I think that part, I think, is pretty obvious, I'll say, in that who's moving the ball. It could be about who's completing passes. It could be about who's making runs. But it's really probably more about who's moving the chains, who's moving the ball, who's scoring some points. And so it's like any other sport. You figure out who's hot. Sometimes it's just the feel. You know what I'm saying? After so many years, you just can see it in their eyes. You can just kind of tell by their attitude, you know, where they're at. And you get that feeling for this guy's, you know, he's feeling it. Let's get him the ball.
Sorry to ask a hypothetical, but if your starting quarterback scores touchdowns the first 2 drives, do you roll with it, or do you get the other guy in?
Well, no, I think that's a good question. I don't think you ever mess with the mojo. You know what I'm saying? Going into the game, we had told Alex, you will go. And we didn't say a specific series just because of that. Now, me and Coach had talked about it being the 3rd or the 4th one. Coach kind of liked maybe at the quarter break, which it turned out to be. And I thought that was a good idea. But of course, we always, you know, reserve the right to say, well, we just changed our mind. We're rolling right now. You know, I don't think you take the hot guy out now. And the other guy would understand that, because he wouldn't want us to take him out if he ever has that role.
Anything else?